So why are we bothered about
Mr.
immunity?
If we can, there's a picture out there that, okay, these people are mass wealth, so by the time they are leaving office, they still appear to be protected. Now, without the immunity clause, they know that they can be picked up even while they are sitting on that seat. Wouldn't that be a deterrent factor?
No. The point I'm making is that even when they are out of office, I mean, there's nothing preventing us from waiting for 4 years. And you pick the person up. What we are saying is that how judiciously, how committed are we with regard to prosecution of those people? Because if we were, you would have been able to answer that question. That at least we have been able to put 4 or 5 governors in jail today. None of them is there. Nobody Bado came out and said he had a dossier of about not less than 30 governors that have been indicted, investigated, and all of that. How many of them are in jail? So why are we bothered about frivolities?
I think in fairness...
It is a distraction as far as I'm concerned.
In fairness, I think you share the same viewpoint with Gbajabiamila, because he said he didn't vote for the removal. Well, so it looks like he's also on your own page. But he said the problem is if we decide to finally take it out, we'll be having problems with the way and manner with which some of these officers will be brought before the judge, as you rightly put it. But how come we still haven't been able to get this willpower to punish those who have offended the state when they leave office? Can that be put in the Constitution to the extent that, well, whether we like it or not is there, and we can actually call them to account when they finally leave office?
No, if anything, the laws are still there for you to be able to call them to account. As they walk around in the streets today, maybe have a way of finding themselves back in the Senate, and those who couldn't find themselves in the Senate are power brokers all living in Asokoro and Maitama and all of that. You can still prosecute them this morning, but we cannot. We don't do that. So that's what I'm saying. You are wasting legislative time doing immunity. At the end of the day, that's why I started by saying maybe it is still part of that battle of wills that they were having, with regard to rivalry. If we can't have immunity, then let's remove that of the executive. It doesn't add anything to us.
Should they have focused more on the laws establishing the agencies that are supposed to investigate this?
You see, if you strengthen those agencies, then we can begin to look forward to proper prosecution and conviction. Because what is important to us is that we secure conviction. It's not that such and such governor has been arraigned, before justice such and such person. So cameramen come there and it becomes news for that evening. At the end of the day, we give them bail and they start junketing all over. The next thing you do, you apply for their passport and then come with an application for medical permit and they go abroad. So they are like any other person.
When you say strengthening, what exactly do you mean? Are they not strong enough? Don't they have enough backing to carry on their jobs?
You see, one of it is prosecution. The prosecution can spoil a case. Prosecution can also ground a case. I mean, you saw the last issue that we had with a prosecution of murder charge against Mustafa. With all that happened at the lower court, that was like the difference between truth and fact. The truth probably may well be that Mustafa would have had a hand in that killing, but the fact did not ground that because the prosecution did not ground their case properly. And that was why when it got to the appeal level, the appeal court looked at it and said, you resolve this benefit of doubt in favor of the accused person, and he walked away. So in other words, prosecution, you must prosecute properly. And at the moment you straighten the prosecution, then we begin to ground charges. I mean, we begin to secure convictions, on most of these people. So it is just not removing an immunity clause. Hardly can you prosecute any governor that is still sitting. It's going to be it's a distraction. Why don't you wait? So I saw that as a waste of legislative time.
What about the local government autonomy?
Well, local government autonomy is what everybody has been clamoring for. But you see, one of the things I disagree with Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila is that he talked about local government autonomy without the attendant strength that goes with the autonomy. That attendant strength is what he disagreed with. And that is to say, who are the people who are manning the local governments? How do they emerge? Whose voice are they? Put in my own words, boys. Whose voice are they? So in other words, local government autonomy without more does not make any sense. It must come with the election of those officers. And that total package will be a situation where you empower INEC. I've been an advocate of INEC conducting local government elections.
Doesn't that go against the principle of true federalism?
Good, that's where I'm going to. The argument of the other side is that, no, why do you centralize election of local government, of local government officials? They are unbiased umpires. They are coming from somewhere. They are not part of the local polities of the local government. And that is why every law must have a mischief it's about to cure. And that mischief is this. Whether it is LCNO, call it APC, call it PDP, any particular state where what they call the Independent State Electoral Commission conducts election, they simply sweep it. They get all the local governments. It is not an accident. It just has to go like that.
So
and one thing about this is that, you know, some group of people may call themselves progressives, and probably without knowing what progressives mean. But the point is this: in Lagos State, in Edo, wherever, in short, you can see some accident that can happen where one or two local governments can go to the opposition. But the rest, they sweep. In other words, political parties rig election. Political parties rigging and political parties is like police and checkpoints.
But you, again, you're also a politician. You know, sometimes it might also not be entirely true, because we've seen a scenario where a governor of a particular political party won an election, and the entire assembly were in the opposition. On their own, by themselves, one after the other, they all moved to the other party. So perhaps people look to the man at the top and say, this is how we should go.
Thank you so much, Sulai. You have just described what politicians do. A governor wins election. The other people are members of the other party. They want to be relevant. They want to get appointments. They want to be part of the juicy nature of, you know, governance in that state. They will simply walk into the governor and pledge loyalty. And they will get appointments, they will get contracts, they get whatever they require. As against the political party that they... It is different from what we are talking about. We are talking about a sitting governor conducts election. Every local government in his domain comes to his party. Why? Of course, you know the answer. So why we won't go that way is that it is not centralizing or making federalism, making the country unitary, which of course was his use of word. He said it was getting too unitary. There are too many things to remove from the exclusive list. Exclusive list has 68 items on it, 68, as against the concurrent that has just about 20 or thereabout, or 28, sorry. So, and the point we are making is that there are too many things to delete from there. With formation of marriage, what does the federal government have to do with formation of marriage and annulment of marriage? Private affair. Issue of driver's license, the federal government is there. You were talking about registration of business names, the federal government is there. Registration, you know, even tourist traffic, the federal government is bothering themselves with it. Remove most of those things and congest the exclusive list. You are now going towards disempowering the center. But you see, there is no true federalism. Let me tell you that. And a lot of Nigerians and a lot of politicians make that mistake, talking about true federalism. Every federalism or every system of government has to be adopted and adapted to the environment. So it is wrong for us to say, in Switzerland, this is what happened. In America, this is what happened. We have found out the problem we have. One of the problems we have is a situation where a governor conducts a local government election. All the local governments go to him. And of course, and I can tell you this, 70% of the local governments in Nigeria are not democratically elected. They are just errand boys and, you know, poster boys of the governors. People who helped him run election and all that, who is going to represent us in such and such local government. They say, okay, put honorable such and such person. He becomes either what they call the sole administrator or caretaker committee. Meanwhile, the federal government is funding, and again, I disagree with Honorable Femi Gbajamila in the sense that he says that the local governments were given back by the states. That's not true. They were given back by the federal government. That is why they are in the constitution. It is, you see, I'm an advocate of scrap the local governments. Let them not be in the constitution in the first instance. It's a different scenario I'm painting now.
Why?
You scrap them. Let them be